This is the second part of the video to complete this card. In the first part I did the background, so we just got to do the mount board square now. I'm using the sailing set designed by Sharon File for Hobby Art, and as you can see we've managed to cram quite a lot into there. You've got you've got scenery, you've got waves, you've got some really large elements, yachts, trawlers, all sorts in there. Very, very useful set. So what I'm going to do to begin is I just need my piece of mount board. All the things that you need are listed in the first video, but this is a piece of mount board, 65 by 65 millimeters. The reason I use mount board is because it won't crack when I put the embossing powder over the top. But obviously if you haven't got any mount board or very strong card, you could just do it on a piece of card and just leave out the embossing part. So stamp with VersaFine because we're going to be working over the top, so the VersaFine is waterproof when it's dry. Just put a seagull in there and then leave that for 5 minutes to dry. So I'll swap over with one that I've already done, and I'm now going to work on the background. What I will do as well, if it doesn't quite go to the end, just a line, hardly anything at all there, but it just makes a difference to the finished card. I'm going to use Masket sheet. I use this quite a lot, as a lot of you will know. If I was doing just one card, I wouldn't bother with the Masket. I'd just wing it. I'd just be very careful when I was stamping. But because I'm going to use this set a lot, it's a very useful one, and I know I'm going to get lots of use out of it. So what I've done, I've cut out a few masks in various levels. You can see they've already been used, well loved already. Because I'm messy when I'm working, I've put them onto a piece of coloured card. That way when I'm in a mess, I'm getting carried away with ideas and I can't find anything, I'll know they're on the coloured piece of card. If they were on a white piece, I probably wouldn't find them. So what I've done, I've stamped this, but then I've cut it into two. So I've got a top and a bottom. So as you can see, I've got different elements. I can use them any which way I like. So I'm going to just start with this one. I'm going to put this onto the sail on the left, and then I'm going to use this one and put it onto this sail. The reason I've done it in two halves is because then the clouds will go through the middle and give you a more natural look. When I've finished with the masks at the end of the day, I'll put them on the back of the stamp set that they belong to, and then I know where they are next time I want to use them. This is a really useful stencil because we've done it so that it can do all sorts of clouds. So you've got really large ones. Because this is a small area, I'm going to use the smaller ones, and I'm going to use the same colours that I used in the background. That way it'll complement the card. I'll show you what I mean by that. So on this is the original. You can see it's the same colours, so it blends in. This one is slightly different colours, and that's lovely too. So it just depends which way you want to do it, but the colours are slightly different. This one was watercoloured, so it sort of jumps out a little bit more. You see the difference. So it's the choice is up to you, but today I'm going to do it so it complements the background. So I'm using the tumbled glass, which is what we used when we did the background, quite lightly there. Don't need a lot of colour on. And this is what I was saying about, I want to go through the middle, so you've got so that the cloud follows through when the mask is taken off. Just move it so we're using a different area. Actually, I'll have that one on the other side as well. There we are. So there's my clouds. Take this off and put it back onto my card. There we are. And I can use those again later. Right, so this stencil I'm going to use, this mask I'm going to use next. And I'm just going to put that over like this. And I'm going to use the same colours again. So I'm using the tumbled glass. And then I'm going to use Faded Jeans. Like that. And I'll go back with the tumbled glass just to merge it. And there I should have a nice finished area. I don't know whether you can see that, but I've missed just a little bit there. I didn't quite get it in place. I always do it when I'm doing it quietly at home. I fiddle around until it's in the right place, because I try and rush a little bit to get it done quickly when I'm demonstrating. I've just missed that area. All I would do to fill that in, I could just put the mask back in place, but the other thing I can do is just make my paintbrush slightly wet, pick up a tiny bit of the colour, and then I can just fill in that area quite easily. There we are. A little bit more there too. That'll teach me to rush. There we are. So that's filled in the area quite nicely. Put these bits to one side. Now I'm going to use my stencil that I used before. I used this in this part of it in the back when I was demonstrating and saying about the background. This time I'm going to use the ripples, and you've got different ripples here, so I'm going to use these ones, and I'm just going to put it over, use my Faded Jeans again, and I'm just going to put a little bit more texture into the water. Because it's such a simple card, you almost need these extra elements to change it from very simple to, you know, slightly more professional. There we are. So you can just about see them there. What I would do also, I'd find my white pen, ideally leave this until it dries, and then just, because it'll work a little bit better, but hey, I'm going to go for it anyway. So just trace over some of the patterns of the ripples and other elements, and that will just make it pop that little bit more. Okay, you can see what I mean there. Right, I'm going to colour in with my clean colour. Clean colour work differently depending on the surface. I tend to use them normally on watercolour card because that gives me a lot of blending time. This mount board is quite absorbent, so as I'm colouring, it's absorbing into the card. So what I've done, I've gone round the edge, but then I'm just colouring in quite firmly, quite heavily, and I'm carrying on. And as I do it, I'm going over the bit I did before, so I'm getting no hard lines. I'm just getting a solid colouring, so it looks, you know, I get a perfect coloured area. Looks printed, in fact. Looks really quite good. Artistic license, your colouring. I want this to be fairly bright, so I'm using yellows and reds, but use more authentic colours if you want to. There we are. I'm going to add yellows. I just want to make the picture pop a little bit. Here's a red as well. Just make it nice and bright. And there we are, our picture's finished, so it's just now to do the embossing over the top. What I have done as well, I've done it on two sides already. I've used the faded James, and I'm just pulling the edge through to colour it. So that one's white, but if I just pull it through the faded James, won't damage the pad, but it just gives me that professional edging as well when it's on the card. I'm now using the embossing powder, and this is just one pot in here, clear regular gloss. I've put it into a tub at least while I'm working, and I use a metal spoon. I used to use plastic spoons, which apart from being not environmentally friendly, they're very light, so if you accidentally tap the edge, the powder and the spoon flies away. So I'm doing it this way. I'm just using Versamark over the top, and then I'm going to put my powder over. You can either do it with the spoon or you can just put it into the tub, and then we're going to heat it up. The boring bit, this is just an ordinary powder, so you will have to do several layers. I'm going to do probably 3. You could do 4. The more layers that you do, the smoother it becomes, and it is worth the effort. There we go. You see it melting. Now if you're quick, you can just pop it back into the tub without re-inking, because while this is still wet, it will hold more powder. The first layer is going to be quite bumpy, so if I'm quick, I'll just put it back in like that and do my second layer. But don't worry if you can't do it quickly, because the alternative is you just leave it to cool down, which I'll do with this next one, and then the powder will stick when you re-ink it. So you can see it's becoming smoother already. So leave it for a moment to dry, and then you can just go over the top again with your Versamark, and that will hold another layer of powder. Here we go. So either which way, and this is the third layer. You could do 4, but you'll see that's becoming quite smooth now, which is the effect that I want. Because Mount Board's fairly heavy, you will need to glue it to your card with the red double-sided tape or a very strong glue. Don't presume that sort of a light glue will do it. So there we go. There's my finished panel, which will go on there like that. Just show you one other. There we are. This one, which was the one that I did in different colours, that has actually got the Wink of Stella in there. Not sure that it shows up on this, but the Wink of Stella allows the glitter to come through. But I'm quite happy with that one. That's nice and crisp and nice easy card, and a beautiful card to send. Hope you've enjoyed the video.